Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another issue of Mortal Realms magazine. As per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment down below. It's always great to hear from you guys. I do appreciate every comment. Now, this week we're on issue 51 of Mortal Realms, and we have the Lord-Ordinator model, which is a pretty cool model itself. Normally this would be 20 quid on its own, so definitely worth picking up a copy of the issue, because it'll come in great handiness, and you can get some really cool looks from it. If you wanted to as well, just make it a showpiece kind of model. This is definitely a prime candidate to use for a showpiece item, and you can get some pretty cool plinths and stuff like that as well, which will work very, very well to show it off if you wish to as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I definitely recommend getting this issue. Into the issue itself, we're greeted on the page about Lord-Ordinators, of course, to give you some kind of backstory about what they're all about. So, part prophet, part engineer, a Lord-Ordinator is crucial to Sigmar's conquest of the mortal realms. They use visions of the future to fortify Sigmar's holdings against any threat. So Sigmar seeks to restore the mortal realms to their former glory. It is the duty of the Lord-Ordinators to make this a reality. Each was chosen for reforging not because of skill in combat, but because they possess towering intellect, were builders, or had great skill for scrying. So nearly every free city bears masterworks created by the genius of Lord-Ordinators, from simple watchtowers to sprawling citadels. So Lord-Ordinators, not only are they well versed in engineering and everything like that, they are also magical abilities with their scrying and their ability to prophesize the future and everything like that, which is pretty cool. They are pretty decent looking units as well, and they are pretty strong. They have the ability to fight, but their main design was to kind of help kind of restore the mortal realms to be a more civilized kind of existence. So Hammerhall, for instance, Sigmar's greatest city, is full of miracles wrought by the Lord-Ordinators, from vast defensive networks to the complex magma channels that keep relentless plant life at bay. And then Tempest, carved into the Titan Spear Mountain, this city is the perfect example of Lord-Ordinator's art. Its observatories help the Tempest Lords predict threats before they strike. So Lord-Ordinator is very, very handy to have around, and very, very useful to the Stormcast Eternals and the help of reforging of the mortal realms and kind of shaping them to Sigmar's will, which is the main thing. You also get information about how you can use the Hailstorm Battery. The Hailstorm Battery is combined units essentially, and it is kind of one formation. So the Stormcast Eternals can combine their strength to deadly effect, while legendary formation is the Hailstorm Battery. An allied group of castigators and a Celestar Ballista led by a Lord-Ordinator. Even the most fearsome enemies cannot withstand the focused bombardment. So all ranged units apart from the Lord-Ordinator, who himself is melee range essentially, but you combine them all and they are a formidable force against any enemy. So they can literally pick out and do a lot of damage. So it gives a bit more information. So you got Lord-Ordinator, it gives you their combat role, which is commanding, directing and defending his comrades. Battlefield position at the heart of the formation, next to the Celestar Ballista. And the chosen target, any who dare to come into range of his hammers. So he holds back, but will attack at will with his hammers as well, which is pretty cool. And Castigators, of course, their combat role is supporting fire and weakening targets for the Celestar Ballista. Battlefield position is in prepared firing positions within range of priority targets, and their chosen targets would be heavily armoured enemies or magical foes like Night Haunts and Demons of Chaos, which is pretty cool. And then of course for Celestar Ballista listed on the back. So its combat role is annihilating targets chosen by the Lord-Ordinator and Castigators. Its battlefield position, behind heavy cover in an easy to defend location near the front lines, and their chosen target capable of destroying any enemy but best against massed infantry or other large targets, which is pretty cool. You got some little bit of artwork as well from the Ossiarch Bone Reapers here as well, with their kind of strange bone catapult thing, which is pretty cool. Which is a pretty cool looking model, but very, very odd at the same time. Moving on though, we've got more information about Chaos. This time it is Chaos Bray herds. So the Bray herds are feared across the mortal realms. Striking from the wilds in savage ambushes, they fight endlessly to tear down civilization. So Bray herds, not exactly the most civilized. They live in tribes, they're very nomadic, and they do wander and everything like that. There are kind of your three core units for the Bray herds would be the Ungors, Gors and Bestigors, which are, as you can tell, they're all very, very similar. So your Ungors are kind of like your smaller scouts, light infantry. Your Gors are your medium range infantry and kind of like your more, there's more of them. And Bestigors are your heavy elite troops and stuff like that. And they are normally led by Beast Lords. So Beast Lords fight their way to the top of the Bray herds, and they rule by strength and savagery in battle. They set a gory example for their troops as well. Or Great Bray Shamans. So the Shamans are your magic wielders, as you can probably tell. And they are very, very kind of... sometimes very, very, very savage in their use of magic as well, which is pretty cool. Your how to build guide as well for this issue of the Lord-Ordinator does include a trick that I normally do, which is I do not put the head straight on. This way you can get a lot more detail when you're painting it and stuff like that as well, which is the main thing, which is the main reason why I don't do it, or I try to do it as separate as possible for a lot of items. So Lord-Ordinator, leave the head on the sprue, just cut out that part of the sprue. With your clippers, it will, if you do this too often, it will start to damage them over time. You can get extra clippers. You can get some really, really good ones from other places as well, and you can get them pretty cheap on places like eBay as well, because they are the same. A lot of amateur jewellery makers and hobby jewellery makers use the same type of clippers, which is the main thing. Putting it together though is fairly straightforward, very, very easy. You're not going to have a problem with that, I don't believe. Have fun with it. Painting it, very, very simple, exactly like every other Stormcast really. However, this time, because you're not putting the head on, it gives you more opportunity to get all your detail in. So make sure you're getting your kind of like your face, the head painted up. You can paint up the mutton chops and moustache that the Lord-Ordinator has, and his beard, everything like that, so you can get a lot more detail, which is pretty cool. And you can use other bits and pieces as well. You can get a lot more detail onto him before you put it all together, which is the main thing, which is always really, really cool and definitely worth doing. And then when you're finished, it will look something similar to that, which isn't a bad example of how to paint it up. It does look quite well and does look very, very well. Good. And of course, scrape off excess paint from the peg on the head before you glue it. If you glue it with paint on it sometimes melts glue and doesn't always stick very well, but it can be done. So not too bad, pretty cool, and looks half decent as well. Then you got your Lord-Ordinator War Scroll as well. Pretty cool unit. Of course, his keywords being Order, Celestial, Human, Stormcast Eternal, Sacrosanct, Hero and Lord-Ordinator. Has two major abilities, which is Arcane Engineering, with him being a scryer, so he can see possibilities and everything like that, and Meteoric Slam, which is pretty cool, and has a command ability of Solemn Duty as well, and it gives you an idea of how to use those abilities as well on that side. Then we get the War Scroll Battalion for the Hailstorm Battery, which is pretty handy, which of course includes one Lord-Ordinator, a unit of Castigators and a single Celestar Ballista, and you can get going with them, which is pretty decent as well. and will become in very, very handy. And then your battle plan is Hold Fast, which is using Night Haunt forces comprised of the Execution Horde, which we got that War Scroll Battalion last time, which is a Lord Executioner, 3 Spirit Hosts, and they're teaming up with 10 Chain Rasps and a Dreadblade Harrow, going up against the Stormcast Eternals in the form of the Hailstorm Battery, and then 4 Liberators as well. Going across 3 maps with Night Haunt starting on either side and your Stormcast defending the objective in the middle of your 3 mats, which is pretty cool little idea as well, and works very, very well. It's really cool. It's not a bad idea. It's a pretty good one as well. So you can. It's more an attack and defend kind of a battle plan instead of this one is, which is pretty decent. And then next week we get Chain Rasp reinforcements. So 10 new Chain Rasps. So 51 issues after the the first issue, we're getting some more Chain Rasps, and then we're going to get Morfan Brown and Trollslayer Orange for week after. Pretty handy paints to have. Should be, not too bad. That's it for this week. Thank you very, very much. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and as I say, if you did, hit the like button. Just drop it a like, drop a comment as well if you wish to, and I will see you in the very, very near future. Bye bye now.